Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things Bharat with your help, and I just shared my Slovak Central European point of view. And today's episode is for those that are interested in spirituality. Namely, we're going to have a sister Shivani on. So this is going to be the reaction on the Ranveer show where she's appeared. And I am very curious what this episode is about, what we can learn together, and what kind of question Ranveer is going to ask. But before we do,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Right. So this is going to be a long podcast, and I will try to split it into parts. So I say, let's go.
Shanti, sister Shivani.
Om Shanti Ji.
I feel so relaxed just sitting in front of you. Usually with podcasts, I'm supposed to begin with a lot of high energy. And then there's some episodes like this where my energy is not low at all. It's just very centered. And that's often an outcome of who's sitting in front of me. So thank you for coming down to our space.
Thank you so much, Shukriya.
How are you feeling today?
Very nice. Because I just started with my morning class before coming here. So obviously when we begin the day with studying high energy words and sharing them.
Very stupid question to begin this conversation. But how much do you think sleep has to do with your reality once you sort of begin a spiritual journey? Do you think the amount of sleep required reduces? Because I've been meditating for maybe 6-7 years now, and every year I've seen a reduction in how much sleep I need, and it's definitely an outcome of age. Like as you age, you need lesser sleep. But the deeper my meditations go, the lesser sleep I need. Sometimes because maybe sleep is simulated in the meditation, but other times just because I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
No. Sleep depends on how the day has been. So if the day has been with a lot of clutter on the mind, stress, emotional fatigue, basically, not physical fatigue. So we sleep for charging of the body and for the mind, energizing of the body and the energizing of the mind. The kind of lifestyles we lead, body doesn't get very fatigued. We're living in AC homes, working in AC offices, driving in AC cars. Physical fatigue is for those who are doing physical work like construction or farmer. That's physical fatigue. But most of us are experiencing emotional fatigue. So if my mind during the day has created a lot of lower vibrational energy, which means stress, anger, critical, judgmental thinking, just even in my mind, even if it's not in my words and behavior, getting hurt, feeling let down, so the lower vibrational energy. So then my mind is tired. It's fatigued. And what will happen is, as are the quality of my thoughts during the day, so will also be the quality of my thoughts in the night during my sleep. So that's why when we are disturbed, we don't even fall off to sleep easily. It takes time to go to sleep because the mind is not going into the delta stage. So during the day, we are in the beta plus stage, which is a lot of thinking. Then we go from beta plus to beta to alpha, that is dream stage, which is also where we go in meditation. Then theta and then delta. Delta means absolutely deep sleep, where even if somebody makes a noise around you, you won't come to know. It's one of those minutes. But when we are very turbulent emotions during the day, we're not able to go very easily into the delta stage. So we are in that beta alpha stage very often. We tend to wake up in the middle of the night, then again try to fall off to sleep because we haven't gone into that theta delta stage. So that way we will take longer. We need longer. And today, if you see people, even after sleeping longer hours, don't get up very fresh and energetic in the morning. They feel like sleeping a little more because the body's energized and rested, but the mind is still tired because they were thinking even in their sleep. Dreams, turbulent emotions, even during sleep. Also depends on what content I was consuming before going to sleep. So many of us are with our phone before sleeping, some kind of media which is not very soothing and calming before sleeping. So if that's my lifestyle, I will need more sleep.
I often wonder why the older generations in India, but pretty much all over the world, actually consume this much news.
Yes.
Like, I feel it's important to know about your world, but not kind of be addicted to it. This whole 8 p.m. news, 9 p.m. news, it's so late in the day. And I often see folks my age kind of not in that system, even in their...
Okay, I'm going to pause it here. Just simply because this is an interesting first question that Ranveer actually posed because so from what I actually know, so it's interesting to see what she had mentioned. For example, I'm a kind of person that I do require a lot of sleep, but I think that in me it's connected. I think it's also connected to individual person physiology, and I have a theory. I wonder what you guys think. I feel like people that are born at night require more sleep, and people that are born during waking hours, morning, require less. It's just my theory, simply because I observe it with me. So I was born late at night, and I know that my mom was always telling me that I was like I was an amazing baby, that I always slept a lot, and I felt like it stuck with me. And I think that I feel like if I don't get enough sleep, I am dead. And for example, my brother, he was born in the morning hours and he never really needed that much sleep. So I just wonder what you guys actually think. That was my theory I was thinking about for a long time. I'm so happy that I can now go and verify it with people, what you guys think. But I think it has to do with human physiology. Is not only about the thoughts. I think whatever she's saying is on point, but like I don't know if you are one of them or know the people that when you don't eat, you just become like the angry person. And I thought like people that do that are just being too precious about themselves, because if I have a lot on, sometimes I really don't eat at all. And there is sometimes that point where you are exceptionally hungry but you can't eat, and then it passes. So I'm that kind of a person. So I never really appreciated people that were like, and I have few in my surroundings. I was just like, oh my God, give me a break. Like you can eat later. Geez, what's the big deal? But then I had discovered that it really has to do with human physiology. Then we are all wired differently. So I just wonder if that kind of applies also to sleep. But let's continue about news. Another interesting topic.
Late 20s, they prefer kind of not consuming old school media like television, etc.
Yes.
I mean, the narrative all over the world is that old school media is manipulated in many ways because of many angles. But these kind of elements, which are sort of, I mean, I want to call it lower vibrational elements. It could be this, it could be violence on TV. And, violence of all sorts, even emotional violence.
Yes.
To some degree, I would even say some soap operas where there is emotional violence as a part of the story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think we are heading into a phase of human history where these things are moving away and aspects like spiritualism, like meditation, actually rising? Like, the real question here is, do you think we're moving into a sort of age of light in the 2020s and 2030s? Because I know for a fact that even with me, all these meditation and these things didn't make sense to me in college. I used to laugh upon it.
Yes.
And it just came into my life in such a strong way.
Right.
So there has to be a reason it came into my life when I was meant to do this podcast and reach out to so many people.
Right.
And that just makes me question the age we're going into, because when I talk to people in their 30s and 40s, they say that we weren't like you in your 20s.
Yes.
And I tell them that I don't know I'm like this, but it's just situations that cause this.
But there are not many who are in their 20s today and are like this. So it's not about the age of the body. There could be somebody in their 20s and very inclined towards a meditative living. And there could be somebody in their 80s and still not interested. So it's not to do with the age of the body. It's to do with the intention of the soul. What it's like, there's a whole buffet around you. Are you more inclined towards the junk food, or are you more inclined towards the healthy food? Which one are you going to choose? Doesn't really depend on your age. It just depends on your liking, your intention.
Do you think many new souls are actually going for the healthy food? Because that's what we notice.
It's not about new souls. It could also be old souls. Because what we are going through right now is a time of a paradigm shift. So both the things are going to be happening at the same time. It's like the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. of the 24-hour cycle, where some people are in deep sleep and some people are beginning their awakening. So for someone, it's a good night. And for another one, it's a good morning. So it is that time. So this is what we call the transition. Like we go through a 24-hour cycle. So it's morning, afternoon, evening, night. Time is cyclic. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, time is cyclic. Similarly, there is a bigger world cycle. Golden Age, Silver Age, Copper Age, Iron Age, which in Hindi we call Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kal Yug. Today's world is called Ghor Kal Yug, which means peak of Iron Age. So we are here at that cusp where it is a peak of Iron Age, but it's also now going to be the beginning of the
Satyug.
Yes, absolutely. That's why you're inclined towards raising your vibration.
When you say it's going to be the beginning, how far are we really? Are we like 200 years away?
No, it's not that far
Okay.
away. Can't you see how lower the vibrations of Kal Yuga are moving?
Because of all this destruction happening in the world? Do you think?
Everything. It's not just destruction outside. It is about the decline inside. So this soul is like a battery, if we visualize it like a battery. So Satyug means battery fully charged. So there's divinity. And then as we take a body, rebirth, coming down, so morning to afternoon to evening to night, battery is. So that's when the vices are at its peak. So ego, lust, greed, jealousy, hurt, worry, now mental health issues also. So this is all meaning the mind is not at that higher vibrational energy. So we've reached here. So now how more longer are we going to be in this stage or go even? So this is the time of the transition where the night is coming to an end and the morning is beginning. So some people will be on the night side, still sleeping, and some people will start the awakening. So for example, if you say, I have started meditation, which means you have started raising your vibration, raising it from that lower vibrational frequency of what we used to be to raising to being calm, stable, accepting people, forgiving. So you're raising your vibration. But when you raise your vibration, it's not only your vibration, it radiates. Energy doesn't stay inside. Energy radiates. So you're radiating your vibration into the collective energy of the planet. So when one soul raises their energy, it's not only about them, they radiate that into the collective consciousness of the planet. So the energy of the planet is going to shift. So don't need a very big number, just need a small number, which is called the tipping point. When that small number compared to the 800 crore population of the planet. So we don't have to wait 800 crore people will think of meditating and raising. Small number, which is called the tipping point, when they raise their vibration, they will overpower the lower vibrational energy and the world will shift.
Were you always like this? Like since
Not
childhood?
at all. Not at.
Okay, I'll post it right here. I'm familiar with what she's talking about very much, but it just makes me feel and think about this channel because I've said it many times that I'm not a political person, but a lot of this channel is interested in politics. And what Ranveer was saying, that a lot of people in India are interested in news. Now that I've been to India, apparently it's like the news is the way of life, but I feel like my vibration is not high enough, so people are not. They're still on that kind of news thing. So this is what I mentioned many times in I think my videos about the book Reality Transurfing, that really explains how the energy works. The thing is, like, where I don't understand, and this is why I'm inclined to spirituality more than anything, is that whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on negativity, you create what in a reality transurfing they call something like a pendulums, like vortexes of energy, where it like the collective consciousness is there, and then it manipulates people inside. So like when you know that, like I my mind is blown by the fact that that people would still want to engage in it. Obviously, we need to be aware, but you know, I just, the thing is, like, you're feeding that part of Matrix that is actually like the only thing that you're fighting against is basically you're empowering it. So it's a lose-lose game for you if you're engaging in that type of exchange, and I struggle to comprehend how people don't understand that. But then, to her point, as she says, you have you know, like the world is, you know, we're living in a dualistic world, so you have to have the good and the bad for it to actually optimally exist and work. And that's, I think, another thing that people really don't get, that everything is God or Brahman or whatever you want to call it. Like it's all of it. It's not like good and bad. I think that the whole good and bad, it's a very unfortunate concept. I mean, we obviously have to understand and discern, but we also have to appreciate it. One cannot exist without the other, but it's about where we invest our energy. This is why I love a podcast like that, because it is aimed at raising your vibration, you know, and basically, you know, helping yourself become a better person, making the world a better place, instead of watching news like a crazy maniac, which you're actually creating to the other bad side of the destruction. But then it's just up to what she says. It's also soul evolution. So on one hand, I don't really want to judge it, because everyone came here for different kind of reasons and has different lessons to learn. But I think it's just good to be aware that we should continue to raise our vibration. So through that's perhaps the only way how we can help to further radiate our vibes and heal the world. But let's continue.
Okay.
Not at all. After the age of 25, I started.
And after the age of 25,
Yeah.
what was happening between 20 and 25?
Between 20 and 25, I was doing my engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing my engineering and normal college, fun, parties, the other kind of fun. Now it's
Okay.
the other kind of fun. So no, I was not at all like that. Not at all.
What happened?
Nothing happened actually. My life has been pretty smooth. I was good academically, everything was fine at home, so nothing happened. But it's just that my mother started practicing meditation. So, you suddenly have a little shift in the house. You see her. But then she used to keep telling me to do it. And the more she said it, the more I moved away because I didn't feel I needed it. I know I needed it. Life is fine. Why do I need to do this? And she would say, nahi, try it out, experiment. So it took a couple of years because I would just not listen.
Was life actually fine?
Yeah, life was fine because 25 years back, life was not what it is today. It's a very different world 25 years back. Very different. We didn't even have the word stress that time. We didn't have the word stress in school and college. We've not used the word stress. It was only in physics. It was never in human emotions 25 years back. So life was quite fine. And I didn't have any issues or problems outside. So I think in that era, we called that life fine, that there is no problem. And I think in that time in student life, only as long as you're doing academically fine, everything is okay. There's no other pressure. And I think it's my personality because she was asking me too much to do it. I was like, the more she asked, the more I went, no, I'm not interested. No,
That's
I'm
a lot
not
of us.
interested. Yeah, that's why. So, and I also felt, I don't know, I didn't find many things logical when I heard it the first time. So even after I tried, I again moved away. That I'm not understanding this scientifically. And then without any reason, like you said, without any reason it happens. One day I just said, today I want to learn it. But nothing had happened. It just came.
I've been thinking so much about time because whether it's my own existence, whether it is material success I see around me, or whether it is spiritual success I see in people who started meditating early, it's always an outcome of situations, and those situations were put into those people's lives, which has made me think that it's definitely about an element of willpower and hard work and how much dedication you have towards processes. But so much of it is based on your own personality, which is again an outcome of time. Who were the people you met when you were a child? Who was in your family? When did they get into meditation? If some people work really hard in life, why do they work hard in life? Why are those same people drawn to sports? Where you see athletes working hard and you're inspired from them. Like, so much of the world and so much of the people's stories are pre-decided according to me.
Yes.
There's definitely an element of willpower and what's it called? When you do things yourself, like an element of self. But then there's such a huge element of time.
Yeah, so pre-decided by who?
Like, so much of the world and so much of the people's stories are pre-decided according to me.
Yes.
There's definitely an element of willpower and what's it called? When you do things yourself, like an element of self. But then there's such a huge element of time.
Yeah, so pre-decided by who?
I'm asking you that question.
You use the word pre-decided. So pre-decided by, because it is pre-decided. But pre-decided by who?
By your own past.
Yeah, so that's it.
Okay.
So the element is not of time, the element is of my karma. Some people work extremely hard and still don't get that element of success. And some people don't really have to work very hard and success just comes very easy to them. And people will say, oh, this is so unfair. They're not working hard and they're getting... Nothing is unfair in this world. Everything is fair. It's just that what we are seeing as hard work is visible karma in this costume. But what we don't know is that soul has done some very, very good karmas in another costume, which the world of today cannot see. And so this consequence of success is not of only this hard work. It is the work that the soul has done on their journey of lifetimes. So nothing is luck. Nothing is coming out of nowhere. Everything is pre-decided by the karma I, the soul, choose to create. So karma and my destiny walk hand in hand.
If you've accumulated a certain amount of, I don't want to call it bad, but like some kind of negative karma.
Right.
Is there a way to erase it without actually going through the outcomes of it?
No, the outcome will always come. But if you have energized yourself, the way you will face the outcome will be different. And so there will be no suffering.
Like,
for example, before you started meditation and after you started meditation, see the way how you are responding to scenes of life. So meditation is not about feeling calm only while meditating. Meditation creates a shift in our personality, and that personality is visible in the day-to-day karma. So earlier, let's say what I was 25 years back, if something didn't go my way, I'll react. But at that time, I call that reaction as normal. That anger is normal, so I'll get angry because that's the vibration at which I was. It's a result of the sanskar and the karma that I have carried.
what is sanskar?
Sanskar means my nature. Anger is a sanskar. Like habits.
Personality?
Personality. But personality is still, actually there's no English word for sanskar. Personality is, today we call personality in terms of my body language, the way I speak. Sanskar is emotional patterns. Like criticism can be a sanskar, appreciation can be a sanskar, doubt can be a sanskar, trust can be a sanskar. So if you are a person who trusts very easily, so we will say trust is your nature. So trust is your sanskar. Somebody doubts very easily, that's their sanskar. Someone is very stable, someone is very reactive. Emotional patterns, which have come with me from my past karma, and that's why the baby born has sanskars. Just the other day, I was with somebody who has twins, just 2 months old, twins. They don't look very similar. And the mother very sweetly said, she said, the day they were born, I can see they're so different. I said, how do you see in a one day old baby that they are different? She said, they're so different. One is so smiling. The other one is like, now the child has done no karma. It's just a 1 day old child. But 1 day is the age of the body. The soul. So the soul in the previous costume, if they were light, happy, smiling, they're just going to carry that sanskar, body changed. And the other soul, little grumpy, because that's how the soul was in the previous costume. So we are starting this birth with our karma and sanskars, and now the present karma. So you said if we've created any heavy baggage, could be in this birth, I could have made a lot of mistakes in this birth also, or I could carry from the past, doesn't matter. Consequence will come. But now if I have changed my way of responding, the consequence doesn't feel heavy.
It's like wearing a bulletproof costume.
Your way of responding to the situation will change. Like if I would react earlier, then the suffering is more for me. Today, the same situation, and I can be like, it's okay. There must be something good in this also. So now that situation is not creating an element of suffering for me because I've changed my present karma. So when we start meditation, we are creating a cleansing here, and this will help us to face the consequence of past karma, and this will help us to more or less create the right karma in the present.
I have a friend who actually asked me a question, and she only asked me this because I've been meditating longer than her, and I actually didn't have a solid answer. I'll tell you the way I answered. But first, I'll tell you the question. The question was, how do you gauge that you're advancing in your meditation journey? And what I think learned on the podcast was someone had said that you need to spot your own behavioral patterns in terms of if there are angry situations, how do you react now versus how would you react a year ago or 2 years ago? Is that different? And that's progress. But there is also an element of deeper meditation experiences, where maybe sometimes you get out of a half an hour long, 1 hour long meditation and you're just feeling like, whoa, where did I just go? Like what just happened? Like I've had meditations in my own life where sometimes it's gone so deep, I'm meditating for the same amount of time every day. But on some days, maybe because of the situation, maybe because I'm on an empty stomach, I don't know why.
It makes a lot of difference.
I have these meditations where I could even like forget where I am. There's been a day where I've even forgotten my gender, my name. Like I just feel like I'm a being meditating.
Yes.
Now, how do you explain this to someone who's never meditated, firstly? But secondly, and more importantly, when someone started meditating, how do you gauge how much progress you're getting spiritually or from a meditation perspective?
A meditation experience can be different on different days, like and you've experienced it. It's not always the same. So we don't try and say, oh, I want to feel that thing again which I felt yesterday. So meditation experience can be different, but spiritual progress is not only about the meditation experience, because someone can have a very divine experience in their meditation, come out of that meditation, come into activity, because you can't be in that meditative state. But you need to be a meditative karam yogi. Karam yogi means while you are in your karam, in your action, you have to be a yogi. Yogi means in a meditative way of doing your karma. So that feeling which you are having while you are meditating should now also be your feeling while you are in activity. That divinity, that stillness, whatever you are experiencing during your meditation, the next stage will be you will feel that even while you are doing whatever you are doing. You could be in a crisis, you could be doing your work, you could be with people, but you are at a different vibration. So spiritual progress will be determined by how my feelings are now changing while I'm in activity, not only while in meditation. It's like, am I healthy while I'm at the gym? No. Am I healthy only when I'm with the doctor? No. I go there to get healthy. But then I have to check how is my stamina during the day. If earlier I could climb 2 flights of steps, now I should be able to climb 5 without getting breathless. That means my physical stamina is building up. Similarly, my spiritual stamina. No. I go there to get healthy. But then I have to check how is my stamina during the day. If earlier I could climb 2 flights of steps, now I should be able to climb 5 without getting breathless. That means my physical stamina is building up. Similarly, my spiritual stamina. Earlier, if I would react in my behavior, second would be my reaction would be just in my thoughts. Third stage would be my reaction is just there and it just finishes. Fourth will be, I will not have any reaction. I will just respond. So it has to convert into a spiritual stamina. If I'm meditating, but it is not converting into a spiritual stamina, it's time to check.
How long does it take? It's different for everyone?
It's different for everyone.
Okay.
But it's just a little attention, nothing else. Otherwise, if it's not converting into something, it's like you're creating an energy. Energy has to get converted in your activity. If it is not converting, then I need to check what I'm doing during meditation.
Okay. I hear you. And I think you've answered the question for a lot of people wondering about the same. There's another topic that people wonder about a lot.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here because there are a couple of things I wanted to mention. So when she talked about, I was actually stunned or surprised when she said that everything is fair. So, for example, my motto of the world is like, nothing is fair in this world. Just deal with it. I discovered it a long time ago, decades ago, when I was at a university, and I realized nothing is fair in this world, and it's okay, you know. And then I always find it surprising, especially with people that actually have some life experience behind them, when they try to talk about fairness. Because I just accepted it. I did not think about it twice. It was like, this is what it is. Nothing is fair, and we gotta keep going and move on. And where she has flipped this topic for me is that it is kind of like a outcome of your past karmas, which is very, very interesting. And I think I hear where she is coming from. I still will keep to my thing of nothing is fair, but in my head, I think what she's talking about, the way I translate that is that I'm aware that I'm a soul on this eternal journey, and my higher self would have chosen lessons that they want to experience in this lifetime to bring me to further kind of evolution. And for that matter, I am sure that I'm encountering circumstances in my life that are meant to get me there. So that is kind of, for example, how I view it. Like, I view it that it's unfair. I see where she says it's fair, but based off your karma, which can make it unfair. But you just accept it. You understand that this is your soul. I think what she's translating is how I'm actually thinking about it. But you just take it like, yes, in this lifetime, these are my topics, these are my lessons, and there is no point even. Well, no point. I just wanted to say react to them. So I think that we come to the point of meditation and the reaction, and it's 100% to me clear from my experience that the more you meditate, the less you react. I'm 100% not there. But there are situations. I think it depends on the types of the situations in your life. But I have definitely became way calmer over the years. Like when you're in your 20s and early 30s, I feel like this is a time where you're very ego driven, and that's where you waste a lot of energy reacting. But I also feel like the calmness for when you're working on your own self-growth and you do personal development, it does help when you have a certain set of beliefs and you're able to, be like the above of what's actually happening. So for me, yes, meditation should lead to the lack of, or like it's just awareness. Awareness creates like, okay, in this situation I act like that, so how can I be better? So it's also paired with the personal development, which is why I like all these topics. But let's continue.
Nowadays, and that's the topic of astrology and astrological charts and cosmic influences on our lives.
Yes.
And it's something that I've laughed at again in the past, that all this is not real, etc. And I've just come to realize that there is some logic behind it.
Yes.
And I've got into reading about it as well.
Yes.
And be it like the Western school of thinking, which talks about sun signs, be it the Indian, Egyptian astrological charts, which talk about Rahu, Ketu and all these things. They're all linked. They are all kind of connected from a sort of scientific perspective, almost like the mathematics of all of them are the same. But lots of people don't understand it. And after we've spoken about meditation, willpower, etc., I'd love for you to kind of give people a briefing on where the astrological charts have an influence on your reality of life. For example, when they have 12 houses of astrology and one's supposed to represent your personality, one represents your married life, one represents your career, etc., etc. A lot of times that could be true if it's read out by like a high level astrologer, someone who knows their stuff. He'll or she will say some very accurate things about you.
Yes.
And that's how people even get into astrology. My understanding is that all of this melts away when you get into your sadhana or meditation. But I would love to hear it from your perspective. And how much truly melts away? That's the other
Depends
angle.
on the individuals.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is the astrological chart? It is something that was prepared a day or two after the baby was born. For most families,
Yeah.
a child is born and they will get the chart prepared. Child has not done any karma and the destiny chart is prepared. That at the age of 10, this will happen. At the age of 20, this will happen. And then we'll get married and then we'll have 2 children. And at this age, it's not going to be very good for 7 years or 5 years. Everything is written down very, very clearly. Written on the basis of the child has not done any karma. So if karma creates my destiny, how is it that my destiny chart is prepared before I've done any karma? So obviously because it's the destiny chart of the soul, not the destiny chart of
The body.
this body. So it has nothing to do with this age. So I, the soul, am in this costume and this is my last minute. I'm about to leave. Till this last minute, my every karma and sanskar is on the soul and I leave the body. I leave everything behind. But the only thing I take with me is my karma and my sanskar. So I will call this last minute as the closing balance sheet. That's your closing balance sheet. The soul enters into the womb of the mother. Couple of months later, a baby is born and the destiny chart is prepared. That is the opening balance sheet. So the opening balance sheet is going to be identical to the closing balance sheet.
Gotcha.
Identically hogi na? Our 31st March closing balance sheet in India is next day, 1st April, it's the opening balance sheet. So what is in the 31st March closing balance sheet? The way I did business in this financial year. So they could be good, they could be bad, they could be profit, they could be my every transaction will come there. And now I take this whole bunch of transaction into, I've just changed the costume. For the soul, it's nothing, just another day. But I've changed the costume. So that balance sheet is now the opening balance sheet, which is given to the family 2 days after the baby is born. What is it based on? It is based on the sanskar and the karma that the soul has come with. Astrology means the science of the influence of the planets on my sanskar. And this I've discussed with an astrologer, a very senior one of India. And I said, I went to him very raw because I would not study this for myself. I've never studied it or seen it.
You don't know your own? Okay.
Because I'm sure it's changed. It's not as per what was in the chart. My parents would have known it otherwise. It's not.
And it's changed based on the lifestyle and decisions you made in this life.
Yeah, because that was only the opening balance sheet. That is what is very important. What many of us do is keep referring to the opening balance sheet as if that is the way life is going to be. It is the opening balance sheet only based on my yesterday. Yesterday means whatever I've come with. So influence of planets on the sanskar. Meditation is going to melt what? My sanskars. So whatever sanskars change in this lifetime, for the good or sometimes
What about?
not for the good. So with meditation, I can change my sanskar for the good. Sometimes due to any other influence or my sanskar changes towards the other side also. The influence of the planet will change. And so those predictions where your sanskar has changed will not turn out to be true. Those predictions where your sanskar has not changed will turn out to be true. And so if anyone goes with their astrological chart at whichever age, they will see that some things have turned out to be as per in the chart and some things have not turned out to be as per in the chart, depending on how much change the soul has created, which means did you change your way of doing business in this financial year? So somebody can come with profit, very good karmas of the past. Suppose they do not do some good karmas in this, their profit balance sheet will now start shifting towards a loss. Somebody could come with heavy losses, but if they do, so like meditation or whatever method they choose, they start doing good karma, good sanskar, the balance sheet of this financial year will go towards good profit. So the prediction will not always turn out to be
It's
true.
like your default settings, which can be like...
That is the beginning setting, actually. It's not even a default setting. It is the beginning. It's like, okay, again, now we go back to you. Last night's meal, upset stomach. I'm sorry, I'm using
No,
it
it's
as
all
a
good.
reference,
It's all
but it's
good.
making sense. The last night's meal, upset stomach in the morning. No problem. Last night's karma, present consequence. If you again go and have a very heavy breakfast now, so then you're again doing a similar type of karma, which means your sanskar is making you eat. In spite of learning that it didn't suit me well, you are forced to do it through your sanskar because you're not changing your sanskar. So if you go and again have something which is not right for your body or you overeat, the same consequence is going to come again. And then your doctor will say, I told you this will happen again. They told you based on your sanskar this morning because of what you ate last night. But if after what happened today, you say, okay, today I'm going to eat less, I'm going to eat light, I'm going to eat healthy, your destiny is going to change today. So you are the creator of your destiny. Similarly, if you take a blood test today, let's say, and you go to a doctor, he'll see your present parameters. If my sugar is on the borderline based on my lifestyle, and the doctor says, okay, if you continue like this, probably within 6 months or 1 year, we are on the borderline of diabetes. I come back home, that is my destiny chart, my blood report, and I say, oh, but what to do? I can't change my lifestyle, late nights, work, and I don't have time to exercise. Victim of my lifestyle. Then I will definitely get diabetes, probably even before the prediction, because I always also have an added stress of my health. But if someone comes back and says, okay, today this change, this change, this change, and this change, you never get diabetes in this lifetime. So the scientific prediction was true. What the doctor said was true, but it was based on my today's lifestyle and my today's blood report. If I change my lifestyle tomorrow, comes back and says, okay, today this change, this change, this change, and this change, you never get diabetes in this lifetime. So the scientific prediction was true. What the doctor said was true, but it was based on my today's lifestyle and my today's blood report. If I change my lifestyle tomorrow, so the astrological prediction is only a prediction. So the word prediction needs to be underlined. It's only a prediction, which means it's a probability. Reality will be decided by the individual. But many people will consume the probability
and make the reality
and make
happen.
it their reality. So I personally prefer not to consume the probability, because why? Let's create the best of karma. And if something has to happen because I've passed consequence, we'll face it with dignity.
Yeah.
But if the mind consumes information of a probability, then many minds are not able to rise above that and create a different reality. So astrological prediction is a science of the probability of what can happen in my life based on my current sanskars and the karma that I have come with. You start meditation, start changing your lifestyle, and you will change your sanskar, and the probability will be different from what the reality you will create.
Okay, so I think I'll pause it here. I was thinking throughout the podcast about, like, man, I like this girl. She seems really nice, knowledgeable. I really like this conversation so far. I'd love to know what you guys think, especially when they're talking about astrology. In fact, for her, it was so funny. She said that she never really came across, and for me, it was like one of my first things. I think when I was around the age of 14, I got like the big star signs or whatever thing, and since then, like, I started to look into power of subconscious mind, and one thing led to another, to proper spirituality. So for me, it actually started with astrology, but I'm personally not a fan. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I believe what she's kind of saying, that this is exactly and the same thing with people that are psychics. Like, there is like the starting point that they can give you, like, a probabilities that they think that was going to happen, and maybe if you want to listen to it, fair enough. I think I got my kundali. I think you call it kundali done as well. But when I was in India, I was talking to this girl who was from Brahmin family, and she said that no one should even read from your palm because things change. And then, like, when you say to someone, like, things are predetermined or this is what's going to happen, they will, what she says, that the people can't rise above it, and then they will let that determine their life instead of them creating their life for themselves and creating the best possible outcome. So very much agree with that. And I was surprised maybe that Ranveer thought, like, the astrology is who. I have a friend of mine. So for example, like, I'm not personally interested in astrology, but I have a friend who is actually studying astrology, and it's like a study of 5 years. Like, it's a proper science on the location of the stars. And I don't know what you guys know about it. I think she might be studying Vedic. I just am not simply that interested in that part, because it's just to do with a prediction, and I'd like to be the creator of my life. So Yeah, so I was just like, no, like astrology is actually really hard. It's not an easy thing. And I know that there is like at least in the West, I don't know how you, and maybe would be curious to hear how you do things over in India, like in 90s, early 2000s, like astrology was a big deal. Like you would always have your you would read your astro chart in the news and stuff like that. I don't know if that ever existed in India, but here it was really a big deal. And it just was like the popular astrology. But then when I had like my friend, she's shaman, she once told me about a really good astrologer, and she said that she was blown away. So when they're talking about like when you go to someone really good and they understand it and they studied it just apparently is on a whole new different level. But I never really went to one that would be like this proper. I think they're hard to find and hard to get to, for that matter. But I would be curious to know what your experience with the astrologers is. If you've actually been to actually a really good one, or if your kundali has been drawn right away after your birth. It looks like it's a thing in India, so let me know if that actually usually happens. And there was one thing that I've written down. I wonder if I find it. I think it was from the very start of the podcast. So I was wondering, like, what do you guys do? Just out of curiosity, because for me, when it comes to sleep, what they were discussing at the very start, what makes me fall asleep is definitely when I have a tough workout in the evening. Like then I sleep like a baby. So I wonder what you guys think. Like how do you do fall asleep? And if let's say meditation helps you fall asleep, because when I start meditating, quite often I do doze off and then I just wake up after that. But yeah, like I think it's good to refresh your mind and soul. And I think like, oh my God, there's nothing better than working out late night where you just fall to bed and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can fall asleep. So I was very curious to know what your tactics for getting in bed. And I think with that being said, thank you so much for watching this part of this video with me. And I will see you in a part 2. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending lots of love. Bye-bye.